make a move and the bunny gets it.
I said, put the bunny back in the box. Why couldn't you put the bunny back in the box?
It's showtime.
Roar. Roar.
Colonel Ironsides here. 200 years I stood in the gap, fighting those who would harm my country. It was my honor, my sacred duty, so help me God. 9 times they took my life. 9 times I stood back up and made them pay. The freedom fighter I could handle anything, but someone betrayed me. I was ambushed, made mortal, rendered powerless, and retired. They passed an amendment and made me a civilian before I left the hospital. For 50 years I watched my country change. Lost its work while erasing me from history. The day I quit my job, I powered up and discovered they lied about that too. I'll remind them of freedom. I'll remind them of duty. I'll remind them of their oaths and who they serve. I'll remind them while I'm shoving it down their throats.
Psychically, I'm very well endowed.
I want to know what you're thinking. There are some things you can't hide. I want to know what you're feeling. Tell me what's on your mind.
Hey there, this is Cooper Telepathy Money Comics. Welcome to the rabbit hole. Hey everybody. Well, today I thought we'd have a little therapy session for the main stream. As a wise lady used to say,
Can we talk?
Can we talk? Can we talk? All right. Basically, I did a poll the last 24 hours, and had like 47 people respond. Over 800 people saw it. And, well, I got some very interesting answers that I want to talk about. And we'll get to that. But over the weekend, I got not one, but two projects that I've been waiting on. The first one I'm going to go over, I played the trailer earlier. It's a Band of Crows. And check this out. It came in this cool box with the logo, right? And it was nice and well packed. And I got both covers. So I got both the main cover right there, pretty nice. Yeah, pretty nice. Nice. And I got the Goonies cover. I really kind of dig this one, so I did get that one. And it also came with a nice little note from Arvid. And he is an artist. Pretty cool. Good guys. And Arvid and Oren. So also got this sticker. Band of the Crow. Look at the cool interior. Got the logo, got the got all that pretty neat. See, we got little swords on the inside. Somebody spent a lot of time thinking about this stuff. You can always tell when somebody has just like spent a lot of time, thinking through things. Let me put this stuff back here. All right. Now this is the $3 book. I got the two cover tier, but the shipping was free. And the way he did it basically is an introductory to the world. So this is not a full book. This is an ashcan. So when I do my review, I'm going to review it as an ashcan. I'm going to review it as a smaller kind of like introductory book. I'm not going to review it like a full story. But it's even got the cool sticker. Got the logo on the sticker. He's thought of everything, all right? And this package is not skimping on anything, even though he priced the book at $3. But cool cover, but it's got this incredible art on the inside. Oren is just a genius. Reminds me of a lot of Rankin Bass. Kind of like Rankin Bass, Lord of the Rings, which I hold in very high esteem. But one thing Oren does extraordinarily well is these backgrounds. Look at these backgrounds right here. Look at that. I mean, this is a dude that just really, really. Look at this right here. Look at that. Just really incredible. Really incredible package here. And it's got some character designs in the back. And got the bandofthecrow.com, which is the now, as for the story, like I said, it is an ashcan. It's a fragment of a larger story. It's meant to kind of whet your appetite, so people have something in their hands they can look at to like share with people. Welcome to Brigantia. Brigantia. Man, always adds extra stuff in there. It's the Southern in me. But as an ashcan, it's kind of incomplete, but it does give you introduction to the world. It does do the job that it's meant to do. And so, as such, I'm going to give it kind of an incomplete rating. I have to see more before I can really get a good rating on it. So I'm going to have to give it... Okay, that's not a reflection on what I think I think it's going. It's very, very well written, and the beautiful character designs, and like the world building. I just don't have enough of it yet to give a full like give it a full rating. But what I got so far is definitely 4 carats out of 6. So it's just good, very good, very good. It's above average, and I'm definitely backing when I get it. When the rest of it's available, definitely backing at full price, or whatever. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the packaging. I enjoyed the thought that went into it. I enjoyed the little note. I enjoyed everything about it. I did a show with Arvid that I'll probably, go back through this Monday call-in playlist and you'll see it. But I did do a Band of Crow show with Arvid, and we really didn't talk a lot about Band of Crow. We kind of ranted about a lot of things, and had a very good conversation. Definitely worth a revisit. What else did I get? Okay. Now, Paul from AGE Comics, we've done some work together. He lettered a book for me, and I backed. I think I backed on the digital tier, maybe, but he had like a disaster befall. He was in an accident and caused damage, and it took him a while to recover. And because of that, he's behind on a lot of stuff, and so rather than offer excuses, he chose to basically send me one of everything. Which, I don't mind. This is a novel version of the book. I haven't read it yet, but it's available. It's got a card here. Got a character card. There you go. Got several of the covers. So this is a number 2 book. And a really cool cover. And here's the number 1 book. One of the covers of number 1 book. So I did get that. And I got the second book in print form right there. A card, kind of like explaining everything. And he's just a really cool guy. I think he's just a neat guy. He also gave me the black and white version of the second book. So amazing. He also gave me cover 2. Cover 2 of the first book. So right here. So cover 2 of the second book, actually. So I got all 3 covers of the second book. Also, I got these prints here. There you go. They appear to be of the same thing. I don't think he meant to give me this many prints. But that's different. But yeah, that's different. Okay. So I got these prints too. That's an awful lot. That's a big package that he gave me. Here is the kaiju refrigerator sticker. Pretty neat. Pretty neat. All right. So let me give you a look at the interior art. So this is the same artist did book 1 and book 2. So you'll get the same interior art for both of them. Everything's really well stuck together. I got tape. Okay. Anybody knows me knows my drama I have with tape. I can tie myself in knots with tape very easily. But so this is the style on the interior. Definitely very solid on the figure drawing. Cool. Does the creature designs are really good. So here's a good example. So he's got, like, the rival factions. He's got different kinds of kaiju. And it appears that this is post-apocalyptic world. Something happened and damaged the world. Let's see. I don't want to tell you wrong. So make sure I get this right. This is out of book 1. So so the world was doomed to another conflict. Instead of ending the world, everything changed. Governments lost control. Anarchy spread. Society's on the brink. We thought it was a new age. We thought those of us who were special would inherit the earth. But then the solar flare hit. Technology died, ushered in a new dark age. But what came next was even worse. And it's like monsters. Okay. So what happened was a world war with nuclear weapons used. And then on the heels of that, a solar flare basically EMP'd technology. And so because of the radiation and some other, and the lack of technology, these creatures kind of like crawled out of the Earth's crust, and suddenly it's survival. But they have people with powers, and then they have kaiju that some can control. It's like some of them have a power to control kaiju, and the others just have powers. And there's a lot of rival factions. It's a lot of world building going on. It's kind of a contained story with bigger consequences. And if anything, it doesn't feel. It's kind of like a similar thing with Arvid. Is I can see the shape of the story. I can tell it's well written, and that it's going somewhere. But it just didn't. I haven't moved along enough in the story to really make a determination. But I like the packaging. I like everything that is handed me. And because of the packaging, because of generosity and everything, and the fact that it's a very solid book so far, I'm gonna go with all right, that's 5 out of 6. That 6th carrot is really hard to get. And usually if you get individual books don't usually get a 6th. Both of these books were kind of like solid 4s, but then all the stuff that comes along with it. Kind of bumped it up to a 5 for me. It's just really solid. I pinned the campaign in my chat on YouTube. It's also in the description on YouTube. So if anybody wants to check out the campaign, still open on Fun My Comic. So that's the reviews now. Okay. So the poll I did on Twitter reads as follows. What is the question you wish the mainstream would ask itself before it's too late? But you know they never will ask until after it's all burned down to ash. Okay? Now the options I gave was, is it our content? Is it our customer hate? Is it our messaging? Or are we the baddies? Now, where did I get the "are we the baddies" from? I got it from this clip here.
Very well. They're coming. Now we'll see how these Russians deal with a crack SS division.
Hans?
Have courage, my friend.
Yeah. Hans, I've just noticed something.
These communists are all cowards.
Have you looked at our caps recently?
Our caps?
The badges on our caps. Have you looked at them?
What? No. A bit?
They've got skulls on them. Have you noticed that our caps have actually got little pictures of skulls on them?
I don't,
Hans, are we the baddies?
Okay. Now, the reason why, and that was by far the most votes. Out of 47 votes before it closed, 64% was, are we the baddies? Is a question that they wish the mainstream would ask itself. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Here's another question that someone wanted to be asked. Arvid Nelson, Arvid the Twit, Bandit Crows guy. He asked, am I a part of a deranged psychopathic neo-Gnostic cult, thinking of myself as morally and mentally superior when really I'm just living in a false reality that I got lured into because of my own naivete? And I told him, I was like, most of them read on the second grade level and only in tweet length that might be a little too complex a thought for them. Thanks, though. So, yeah. There you go. That's a pretty complicated way of asking the question, but yeah. Another question was, is what we're doing ethical journalism? Do we report with truth, accuracy, and objectivity? That's something that he wishes the mainstream would ask itself. And this one says, is it too late to add all of the above? And I had a couple that said that, all of the above. Okay. So I had a couple of those. Somebody sent me a link to an article where basically a CEO of Wizards of the Coast, let's make sure, Jason Tondero, or Tondro, Jason Tondro, sorry. He's raised the ire of people in the tabletop role-playing game community, okay? And he's a person who's developing Dungeons and Dragons of the Wizard of the Coast. But he basically said that he's not going to listen. Let's say, out of curiosity, did you or your team foresee any blowback from your comments potentially? And he replied, Aaron David Lewis Hurley in the book's development, the marketing team asked me what sort of critiques we should expect and prepare for. And I and the editors agreed the problem was going to be from progressives and people from underrepresented groups who justly took offense to the language of the original D&D. I didn't write the preface until late, and I wrote it to address these concerns. It never occurred to me I rise the ire of the grognards. It's obvious now that I look back on it, but I just don't take those critiques seriously, even now. I consider those people not worth listening to, so I didn't anticipate their outrage. Okay, so essentially, he was more concerned with people who were underrepresented than people who actually buy Dungeons and Dragons and play Dungeons and Dragons, who he didn't consider people that he needed to listen to. So, welcome to Grognards. Welcome to the conversation Grognards, evidently. I think Grognards are like orcs or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, so that's Wizards of the Coast. The people who control Dungeons and Dragons, part of the mainstream. Okay, so get this out from under my feet. All right. So, can we talk to the mainstream? Let me talk to the mainstream. Yes, you are the baddies. Okay. Now, how do we know you're the baddies? Okay. Well, we know you're the baddies because baddies wind up destroying things that they're given control over. Usually the outcome of their actions is always negative, and always eventually winds up with the utter and complete like breaking down of everything that they're in charge of, everything that's in their domain. And the mainstream basically became the baddies. And I'm speaking to the mainstream right now. So, if you have this moment in time where you ask yourself the question, are we the baddies? Now, ultimately, the question becomes, how do we stop being the baddies? How do we become the good guys again? Now, ultimately, if you're in the mainstream, your attitude has been that it doesn't matter if we're the bad guys. These people are so much worse than us. And we're actually trying to do something good. We're just the only way we can do things good, or for other only way we can do good is to basically do bad towards other people, and the people who basically have supported us traditionally. And so essentially, bad doesn't equal a good. Multiplying a bad thing does not get you to a good thing. Bad only begets bad. Okay. And so if you're doing something bad and you think you're doing it for the right reasons, well, ultimately, it's still bad. Because bad, later on bad, multiplied by bad is always bad. Negative times negative is negative. You never reach positive. Okay. There's a quote. Let me find it right quick. I have it saved on my phone. Right quick. No. Where is it? All right. Now this is it's a quote from C.S. Lewis. All right. All right. I'm not going to be able to find it. But basically, C.S. Lewis said that the worst things are done by people believing they're doing a good thing. And the reason why it's so bad is because they feel like they're doing bad things for the good of the world. And they're doing so they can do as bad as they want to do because they're doing it with the agreement of their own conscience. It's so when the mainstream has basically made content that was hostile towards one group of people over another group of people. When the mainstream has showed hatred, and I do mean hatred, okay? I'm not exaggerating. It's absolute, open, naked hatred for the traditional customer base and people who have supported them traditionally, okay? And when the mainstream has basically failed to ask the question, that when we look at these properties, where these properties used to be, and now they have diminished. Now they're on the cusp of utter eradication. The customers have gone away. They're no longer buying. They're no longer supporting. They're no longer consuming. When you see that, and you have to know that you're the bad guy. You have to know that you're the bad guy. It doesn't matter if you are right in your own mind. The results never lie. The results never lie. Okay? What's the results of race swapping? Well, what the result of race swapping is not only do the characters you race swapped not resonate with the people who have traditionally, believed them to be this group of people. Okay. Not only have you basically turned them off, but you've essentially caused people to have a backlash against actual other races of characters. Because you chose to race swap, which took away from people this character over here, and then accused them of racism if they didn't like it. What you caused is resentment for other characters who were traditionally the race that you left them. Things like Sam Falcon, the Captain America. When he was Falcon, people loved him as Falcon. And then they stuck him in the Captain America role, which was Steve Rogers. Traditionally it was Steve Rogers or Bucky Barnes. Bucky Barnes kind of filled in. But what happened was, not only did Captain America lose value because people just didn't want him in that role, not because of racism, but because he had his own role. And he was great in that role. And that's the way people viewed him, the way people saw him. Then you shoehorned him into this other role, right? So what happens? Not only did he lose as a character, did he lose popularity, but the role that you shoved him into lost popularity. That Captain America comic, both times that they've tried it, has been canceled. Results do not lie, right? Got comics. Nerd. He's not Captain America, right? So basically, this is your chance to course correct. Okay. What do we determined? Okay. You're when you do things bad things, when you take away, when you basically deliberately take something that has had popularity, that people has had affection, and you twist it and change it to be something that it was never was, then not only do you destroy that property, not only do you destroy that character, not only do you turn off the base that traditionally loved it, but you damage whatever identity that you're shoving. Like She-Hulk, the television series or the streaming series, was so anti-male, so obnoxiously feminist that it basically made people reject out of hand any girl boss character ever since. So basically what you did was not only did you diminish She-Hulk as a character by making her into a radical feminist, a screechy, obnoxious radical feminist, but you also not only did diminish She-Hulk and Jennifer Walters, but you also caused people to reject female characters because she was so obnoxious and so anti-male, and it basically it tainted all other characters that have any kind of attributes that that character had. If there's anything recognizable, what it turned people off. Okay. And what's happened since? The Marvels came out. The Marvels sank like a damn stone because all those characters had the same attributes as Jennifer Walters did and She-Hulk. And people were like, no, it didn't work over here. And I'm not going to fall for it here, you know? And so what you do is not only did you damage She-Hulk, but you damaged all female characters after her. Not only did you, by shoving Sam Wilson into the Captain America, role, which he wasn't suited for, not only did you damage Sam Wilson as a character, erase Falcon, his entire history as Falcon, but you also diminished Captain America. It has nothing to do with race and everything to do with what people have traditionally loved about the characters. So you are the baddies when you do that. Okay. Hold on a second. She-Hulk is a good show if you watch it on opposite day. Yeah, got you. Hi, buddy. Hey, good stuff. Hey, man, what's up? All right. So that's why it doesn't work. And so the content matters. Now, I keep hearing people that are saying like it's the new environment, it's the new business model, it's a new reality that we're in now, it's the new infrastructure, it's a new ecosystem that we're in. That's the reason why these things are failing. Okay. And nobody wants to talk about the content. Nobody wants to talk about the race and gender swaps. Nobody wants to talk about the ideology that's been shoved into every nook and cranny. Nobody wants to talk about that. And you see these guys get together and they're like, let's find solutions. Let's find solutions. And then they walk right by the content and go straight to the business questions. Oh, we got too many alternative covers. we're aiming too hard at collectors, and we're not aiming hard enough at people who are traditional comic book lovers. Okay. But then they don't even go, they go right up to the edge, and then they never talk about the content. But the content is the entire problem. Okay. Now, can we talk? All right. Mainstream. If you're paying attention to me, okay? The content is the issue. The entire issue. You can fix all this business stuff all you want, but the content is the issue. Take a look at what's happened to Scholastic. Scholastic had Dogman, had Captain Underpants, had all these things. Raina Telgemeier was doing the Bone. They put out Bone, and they were riding high, with these smaller volumes, these hardcovers that they're selling to Scholastic festivals and fairs and things like that. And they were riding high. They were constituting a very high percentage of Western comics sales. What happened? Because they had cultural power, the activists moved in, and suddenly the content went downhill. And suddenly people are not comfortable buying these books because they're going to get trans ideology or some kind of sexual content in them. And so what happens? Parents aren't buying those books because the content changed. The content altered. Still the same packaging is still available in the same places, but Scholastic is falling off a cliff right now because the very next book that they picked up, the very next Dogman, the very next Captain Underpants, they're flipping through with their kid, and suddenly all this ideology started jumping out at them. And they're like, no, this is no longer safe. This is no longer safe. This is no longer an automatic buy. So, in other words, the content changed. And suddenly, the same business model, they had the same business model, they had the same quality, they had the same quality control and the same reputation. But suddenly, because they changed the content and started shoving ideology into it, parents stopped buying them. Hold on a second. Rabbit hole. Yeah. Patrick Poncho Zorts Wilders untie. Yeah, there you go. Well, I think he meant unite. I'm pretty sure he meant unite. I don't think he meant untie. Anyway. So content is everything. Your content sucks. Your content is not what's selling. Now, what content did sell? You know what content sold. You've rejected it. You've thrown it away. You've moved away from it. But you know when the sales were still high. When people were doing the streaming, when people were doing movies, when people were consuming product. You know when that was. But you rejected that. You walked away from it because it didn't fit your agenda. But you know where it is. Okay? Hold on a second. No, weirdos would never unite. However, we untie is being weird. Yeah, okay. All right, I get you. All right, fair enough. Thank you, Poncho. So basically, where do you know? How do we know this? All right. Tele2 movies. Tele2 movies. Disney's Mufasa came out. All right. It's a live action follow up to The Lion King, the live action Lion King. It's a prequel, but there was no demand for it. No demand whatsoever for this prequel. Okay. There was no demand. So why did you make a book, or why did you make a movie that had no demand? Why'd you shell out that much money on a story that had no demand? Because the customer didn't matter. What the customer wanted didn't matter. What the customer was basically desiring didn't matter. Okay. Other movie comes out. Sonic 3. Sonic 3. Okay. Sonic 3 had all sorts of callbacks to the original video game series, had a character who's hugely popular in Shadow the Hedgehog, and voiced by somebody who the fans love, Keanu Reeves. And then you brought back Dr. Robotnik. Then you like two different kinds of Robotnik, which were both in the video game, both played by Jim Carrey. And you brought all the gang back, and they had these, all these things that people were loved about the games, and you put them in the movie. Okay, back when you didn't when people rejected your first iteration of Sonic the Hedgehog, by the way, Shudder. That first iteration was terrifying looking. What did you do? Yanked it off the market, even though it was due to be out in theaters. Yanked it off the market, put it back in to production, and said, make it more like the game. So what did they do? They went back, they made it more like the game. And then a few months late and over budget, because you went and did this, you put it back in theaters. And people loved it. People flocked to it. It made money. Even with these additional overages. And then you did part 2. Part 2 was more of the same. Brought in Knuckles, another fan favorite. People loved it. Followed the formula. And then 3 introduced even more characters. Gave them more what they love. And right now, Mufasa sank like a stone. Probably won't make its budget back. And Sonic Hedgehog 3 is going over $1 billion. It's probably going to be over $1 billion. It's going to make money. Why? Content. You say, what did the customer want? Let's give them that. Now, there's going to be people that reject that and say that art has to be for art's sake, and you can't allow customers to alter your art, otherwise it stops being art. Well, there's a misnomer there, okay? And that is, if the art is pure to start with, the customers are going to respond to it. If the art is pure to start with, customers will respond to it. But if your idea of art is taking something, race and gender swapping everybody, shoving in ideology everywhere you can fit it, and then shoving it out onto the marketplace that's already rejected these things over and over and over again, told you they don't want it, then that's not art. Whatever that is not art. That's propaganda mostly. And people don't like it anymore. People aren't going to accept it anymore. So, mainstream, I'm talking to you. This is the truth. The customer has told you what they want. They've told you over and over again. They have demanded what they want. You're the ones that have rejected that and gone your own way because you no longer like the customer. Well, guess what? You can't exist in the space and expect to make any money unless you figure out how to like the customer again. That's where we're at. You've got a building customer base. That's who you need to woo. That's who you need to buy flowers for. That's who you need to buy the chocolates for. That's who you need to be romantic with. That's who you need to please. The customers you already have established for years, decades, who love your IP already. That's who you need to please. Because you have pursued this other customer base who you like, who lives in the same places you do, believes the same way you do, and goes to Starbucks and has chin wags over meals or whatever you do. Those people aren't buying your product, and it's significant enough monies to support you. They're just not. Guess what? You're going to have to appeal to people who may or may not have voted for Trump. You're going to have to appeal to people in flyover country. The weirdos and the dummies that didn't go to college. You're going to have to appeal to the ignorant, unwashed masses, because they're the only ones that buy stuff. They're the only ones that support you through thick and thin. And they're the only ones that are going to keep your IP above water. That's the truth. That is the truth. So, if you take your content, adjust it back to traditional norms, give people things that they have demanded with their dollar and have traditionally backed, and swallow your gorge, swallow the vomit down and try to like your customer, or at least lie about it, pretend. Don't go online and tell people how disgusting they are, call them names. You got a lot of wooing to do if you want to continue. That's what we're down to. On this side, obliteration. You become history. You no longer have a place in the marketplace. You become irrelevant. You become a footnote. This one, over this side, you make the adjustments. You give people what they want. You give them the product they want. You take your pet project out of it. You take your pet ideologies out of it. You take your appeals to people who don't buy product out of it. And maybe you live another day. You've got a lot of wooing to do because you've done a lot of damage. The relationship is fractured. The relationship is negative place. They hate your guts. Why? Because you kept telling them that you hated their guts. You kept telling them that they don't deserve you. You keep telling them that they don't deserve your product. You keep calling them grognards. And guess what? People don't take abuse. And they don't stay in abusive relationships. And you've been very abusive. You've been very, very abusive. You got a lot of wooing to do. You got a lot of bridges to mend. You better start now. Because you might be as little as 12 months away from being completely, totally wiped off the face of the planet. We're in last days here. We're in the last days. We're in the twilight here. Okay? The mainstream is dying. And guess what? You're the ones that killed it. The customer, they didn't kill it. The customer wanted you to succeed. The customer backed your stuff at the beginning of it before they figured out how much you hate their guts, before you told them how much you hate their guts, and before you ripped from them everything that they loved and enjoyed, and told them it was their fault for being awful. Before you became abusive, before you took a villain turn, before you became the baddies. That's what we're down to. You're the baddies. The only thing that you can do now to survive is do a face turn. And in wrestling, they call it a face turn, where the bad guy suddenly starts being helpful. The bad guy starts talking respectfully to the crowd, starts wooing the crowd, starts loving on the crowd and giving that energy back. Even if you hate their guts, you're going to have to please them. You're going to have to get down on your knees, beg forgiveness, buy them flowers, serenade them underneath their window, court them, bring them back to your side, because you have been doing everything you could since 2016 to tell them where to go. And they went there. You told them where to go and they went. You got to bring them back if you want to survive. Hold on a second. My pet is a project. Yeah, I got you. Woo woo. Right. The paddle marks are still fresh. Yeah. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. So mainstream. Let me take my glasses off here. So mainstream, I'm talking to you. You got some splaining to do. You've got some changes to make. The only way you're going to survive this is if you get them back. And how do you get them back? You know the roadmap. You know the formula. You know what it's going to take. You know. The only way back is to go back. Get away from this Marxist ideology. Get away from this faulty belief system. And get away from your hatred of your customer base. And stop being the baddies. Can you do that? I know some of you would rather die first. And you will. Guess what? You'd rather die than change things? I've seen people, you actually say things like that. And guess what? You'll get your wish. This is the only road back. It's the only road back. You got to give us what we want. And you got to give it to us in the way we want it. You got to woo us back. That's all we got. That's all you can do. Anyway, that's the therapy session for the day. The mainstream. I don't know if anybody's listening, got their ears on, but I just, that's tough love. That's tough love, guys. That's all that's left to us. Oblivion. Giving us what we want. Which one are you going to choose? choose life or choose death. That's your two choices. At this point, that's what we're down to. You can't play with it anymore. You don't have any room to play. You don't have any kind of goodwill that you can wiggle, any wiggle room. That's what we're down to. Die, go away, be erased permanently, be have your imprint, your print on the world so diminished that you might as well have ceased to exist, or give us what we want. Give us what we ask for. Give us what we demand. Give us what we support. And survive. That's what you're down to. Anyway, that's been Cooper for Telepatic Bunny Comics. Thank you to the fluffiest chat and all of YouTube and everybody that showed up today. Hopefully, some mainstream person will watch this and maybe get the message. I doubt it. I'm exactly the kind of people they despise. I'm exactly the kind of person they despise. Exactly. So, they're probably not going to listen to me, but that's what we're down to. I don't really have a feeling either way. But thank you all for coming, and we will talk to you next time. Follow the White Rabbit. Bye, everybody.